President Trump shares incredible news for the American family and businesses. Riots break out in Portland, Oregon, as ICE agents are attacked, hit with tear gas and bottles. It's also been discovered that the Portland police are secretly helping Antifa thugs escape prosecution. Lastly, Democrats voted for the 12th time to keep the government shut. They're about to lose food stamps and billions of dollars in programs, yet they ran to the mainstream media to say it's all President Donald Trump's fault. Thank you guys so much for liking and sharing these videos. I'm still on the road, but I wanted to bring you guys the biggest stories in the news today. Starting with good news for all Americans who drive or buy American stuff, gas prices have hit their lowest point in 4 years under President Trump. Now, according to a new White House press release, the statement credits President Trump's focus on American energy production for the drop. Remember, I shared with you in the past that the Secretary of Energy said that President Trump calls him 7 days a week saying, when are gas prices going to come down? He's been putting pressure on OPEC, on Europe, over in Russia, on China, everywhere in order to get those gas prices down. Now, according to Gas Buddy, the national average is under $3 a gallon, and prices are expected to stay in this area unless there's a major war or disruption in oil production. In the Dallas-Fort Worth area, drivers are seeing prices around $2.42 a gallon. This is like going back in time. Now, the release says that 35 states are under $2.99 a gallon, with one area having $1.99 a gallon. That's insane, right? Now, the White House says President Trump's policies are bringing real relief to American families, arguing that energy independence is a national security issue. It also helps stabilize inflation, and it gives serious relief to businesses. Now, most of this happened under Biden. Some of it his fault, some of it not his fault. But shutting down oil production didn't help anybody. Now, listen to what President Trump had to say about this matter, because I always like you guys to just hear it directly from his mouth.
They lost control of the price of gasoline, of oil. They totally lost control, Howard. And then they went back immediately. Well, let's go back to Trump. But by that time, it was too late, and they didn't go back because the leases and everything else. They didn't do what they had to do. They wouldn't know. They really didn't know how to. But we could be hitting close to $2 a gallon. I'd love to break it if we could.
Gosh, wouldn't that be amazing if we could get gas down to $2 a gallon? That would be like going back to before COVID. It would be absolutely amazing. Now, I was just in California, and I paid $4.96 a gallon. That wasn't even the most expensive in the state. I got to tell you, that is crippling to a travel budget, to an American family, to businesses that rely on gas to transport their goods. I did see one area where it was under $4 a gallon. But let me know, please, in the comments, where do you live and what is regular gas prices? I want to come back and look at the comments and get an idea from my community. Now, another key development under President Trump's administration is the ongoing effort to make the nation safer by strengthening law enforcement and security measures. President Trump put out a Truth Social post where he explained what's going on with law enforcement and specifically with the FBI. Let me just read this to you. The FBI under my administration is doing an incredible job. Since January 20th, more than 28,000 violent criminals have been arrested. That broke a record. With over 6,000 illegal weapons seized, more than 1,700 sicko perverted child predators taken off the street, and 300 human traffickers. 5,000 children have been rescued from trafficking, 2,000 criminal enterprises disrupted, 1,900 kilos of fentanyl, enough to kill 125 million Americans, taken off the street. This is historic. So we're bringing back law and order. Cash, Dan, Andrew, the men and women of the FBI are doing a tremendous job to keep America safe. Isn't that incredible? I mean, they really are just getting so much done for the American people. Now that they're not over there chasing January 6 grandmas, they can actually focus on making America safe again. All right, now turning to a major court decision on domestic security, the Ninth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ruled 2-1 that President Trump does have the authority to deploy Oregon's National Guard troops to Portland, reversing a lower court's decision that temporarily blocked him and said it was overreach. And boy, do they need it. I'm going to show you some footage that's ugly, ugly. Now, the ruling written by 2 Trump-appointed judges found that the president likely acted within his authority as president of the United States, and federal law does grant him authority to use the National Guard as needed to keep the country safe. The case stems from protests in Portland, Oregon against Trump's policies, anti-ICE demonstrations, and trying to clean up the homeless situation in the area. Judge Ryan Nelson wrote that the president has broad authority on these issues, and there is no evidence that President Trump has used overreach. In fact, Attorney General Pam Bondi, she weighed in on the situation. Today, the Ninth Circuit found that POTUS has the right to deploy the National Guard to Portland, Oregon, where local leaders have failed to keep their citizens safe. This follows hard work by the Justice Department attorneys and helps reaffirm a simple truth. President Trump is the commander-in-chief. We will continue to fight and winning in court to defend President Trump's agenda. Now, I love that. This is what we voted for. We want America to be safe. We want our children to be safe. Look at what they've done in Washington, D.C. Look at what they've done in Memphis, Tennessee, what they're trying to do in Chicago, Illinois. So it's really great. Now, there was immediate backlash to what President Trump did, the courts, and also to Pam Bondi. Antifa is not going to go quiet into the night. Let me show you this footage from Nick Sorter on the chaos that broke out after the ruling. Sounds like a war zone, right? Like, how are you supposed to do your job and keep America safe when people are launching smoke bombs, tear gas, and how do they get their hands on it, right? Like that wasn't even the police flashing those lights or doing the gas. That was actually the people there. Let me show you one more video because it's just absolute chaos up in Portland, Oregon each night.
Nice aim, I love that. Whoa! Take the middle. What did that person do?
They're hiding behind the sign.
So they're shining high-powered flashlights in police eyes, in ICE eyes. They're also doing green lasers into eyes and up at helicopters. Very, very dangerous stuff.
And they're running for cover behind Portland police. Oh my God. You've got to be kidding me.
It's kind of wild. Shoot everybody else to shoot one person. Push, you got, come on. somebody else.
We should be allowed here with the fuck they're doing.
Nobody told us anything, so we're standing there. We don't know what's
Oh
going
my
on.
God, is this the
So it's just like she's really running behind you guys. And we don't know why she's running. So.
Did you hear that? We're not covering for these protesters. We don't know why they came running. We don't know why they're hiding behind the police. Yes, you do. You just saw what they did, and then they look around and they come and hide behind you. And now you've got Department of Homeland Security saying, why are you helping these people?
Hey, I love that. Whoa.
So that goes on for another couple minutes. I want to be respectful of your time, but they start throwing things at the police. They start trying to out ICE agents, more smoke bombs, going after Department of Homeland Security agents. It gets really ugly. Now, meanwhile, in Washington, the Senate has again rejected a House bill to temporarily fund the government, marking the 12th time that Democrats have blocked Republican measures. That means that the partial government shutdown is now entering its third week. The vote was 50 to 43, short of the 60 needed to pass. Two Democrats, Catherine Masto and Angus King, joined Republicans, while John Fetterman did not vote at all. He said he's not going to waste his vote. And Rand Paul, a Republican, voted against the bill. And then President Trump mocked him, saying, oh, Rand Paul, is this guy a rhino or what? He just happens to vote no on everything I want to do. Now, the deadlock centers on Democrats' demand for over $1 trillion. They need Obamacare subsidies because it's now been proven that the Affordable Care Act is a piece of crap, and it is very, very expensive. I mean, for a lot of people, their health insurance is now double their mortgage payment. And they keep trying to convince us that it's affordable, that they aren't the reason that healthcare costs are going up by 8 to 10% every single year. It's literally outpacing inflation at a rate of almost 5x. It's ridiculous. Most people cannot afford that. Now, in response, in a post on X, House Speaker Mike Johnson stated, Democrats have now voted 12 times to shut the government, preventing a paycheck from going to troops, vets, air traffic control, women's services, infants, and children. Senator Chuck Schumer and Senate Democrats can make this shutdown end immediately if just 5 of them would use common sense and pass a 24-page bill to turn the lights back on. Now, here's what's really interesting. Did you know that these senators are still collecting a paycheck, even though none of their staff is getting paid? And I saw one of them yesterday, a Democrat. He said, oh, it just pains me that the people I love so much aren't getting a paycheck. And then the person said, well, you're still getting a paycheck. He said, yeah, because I'm still fighting for them to get theirs, right? So they get to collect their money. They opted out of Obamacare. They get opted out of the auto dialers and everything. So they don't live in the same world that you and I live in. And it literally doesn't bother them a bit to put people through pain. It's really disgusting to me. Now, Congressman Jim Jordan clapped back, stating Democrats gave illegal aliens debit cards and fancy hotels, but they don't want to pay our troops or open the government. They're now hurting the military and their own voter in order to stick it to Republicans. But they already lost the vote. They passed the big beautiful bill, and now they are desperate to cover up the sins of the past, which is Obamacare. So they're literally they literally care more about illegal immigrants than they do their own voters. It's just disgusting to me.
The Fed has finally dropped interest rates, and that's great news for American homeowners. Expenses have been a major burden on families. Wages are flat, prices keep climbing, and for many, the only way to make ends meet is to lean on credit cards. But that cycle of high interest debt makes it hard to stay ahead. If you're a homeowner, I want you to call my friends at American Financing. Right now, interest rates have dropped, and many homeowners are seeing options in the low 5s. Compare that to credit cards charging rates in the 20s or higher. There is an easy path to see how you can finally put your hard-earned equity to work for you. American Financing can help you pay off that expensive debt, free up your cash flow, and keep your budget under control. Their salary-based mortgage consultants are saving customers on average $800 a month. And if you get started today, you might be able to delay the next mortgage payment. Take control. Call American Financing today at 888-686-8030 or visit americanfinancing.net/Gardner. Again, that's 888-686-8030.
Okay, now a health update on former President Joe Biden. He completed radiation therapy for his prostate cancer. The 82-year-old underwent several weeks of treatment and said he's doing well. His cancer was diagnosed in May and described as aggressive but hormone sensitive. It will most likely end up in his bones and will be very, very painful. I'm not a big fan of Joe Biden, but I don't wish pain on anybody, especially with my own father having gone through prostate cancer. Now, the Bidens wrote, "Cancer touches us all. Jill and I have learned that we are strongest in the broken places." All right, and finally, on international news, Ukraine and the United States have agreed to give Kiev an additional 25 Patriot defense systems to defend themselves against Russia. Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky said the systems will be delivered over several years due to high global demand and low production delays. This makes me very nervous. These systems are billions of dollars. They require American boots on the ground. And by giving them away, we now don't have them here to protect the homeland. President Trump said he's about done with this. He wants Zelensky and Putin to come to the table. He says he's all for helping Ukraine, and Ukraine is the underdog in this, but that the American people have war fatigue and taxpayer money abuse fatigue, and he just can't allow it to go on forever. And I completely agree with that. All right, I'll have more for you guys later today. Thank you so much. If you could, give this video a like, hit that subscribe button, stay amazing, and I will see you on the next video.